host, Jessica Joy Revelis, with Women Who Work TV. We just had an amazing couple segments with my friend Carol Soloway, book author of Sex Happens, a novel. Now we're here with my other good friend, Arlene Guerra, who we're going to talk about personal styling and branding and all this really cool stuff. So Arlene has a background in fashion styling, and we're going to dive right in. So why don't you let's kind of go back a little bit, and then we'll kind of move forward. So tell me about your background in styling, and like how did you fall into it? How long have you been doing this?
A long time. I kind of don't have a typical fashion career path. I landed in styling, and once that happened, it was like the sky opened up, and I had my like aha moment. But I went to school. I got my marketing degree, and I did the corporate thing for about 6 years for Macy's. I started in the stores, and then in the buying office, and from there I met my mentor. And she was the styling director for Macy's, and really she took me under her wing, and once that happened, I never turned back, and it was like meant to be. And that's how my fashion styling career, it was my foundation. And then I decided to move to New York and freelance.
Wow.
And
where really you need to be, right, for fashion.
Absolutely.
New York, LA, London, Paris. Exactly. Right, Milan.
Oh, yeah. I mean, New York is just, I knew I had to do it. I had to, like, it was a time in my life I was ready to take the leap, and I knew if I didn't do it, I would regret it. And I'm glad I did.
Or not have an opportunity to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was scary, but it was a good scary.
And once you got to New York, who were you working with at that point?
New York was, I'd like to say it was, what's the right word? I'm sorry, I'm at a loss for words for, like the timing was perfect. I literally was working. Yes. Serendipitous.
I'm a writer, so you know.
Thankfully. Yeah, it was perfect timing. A week later, I was working for Neiman Marcus, and my career was always kind of in working for retailers like Neiman Marcus, Nordstrom's, Bloomingdale's, Lord & Taylor, because that was my
that was your background, your foundation.
Yeah, exactly. And so I pretty much stayed within that industry, and it was an amazing experience. It was all about networking. It was from the foundation that I kind of had set previously before taking the leap to New York, and I think that's kind of key, is the networking and building relationships, and it was an awesome experience. I would recommend New York to any like aspiring fashion stylist or anybody fashion careers, because the opportunities are so great there. There's just more of it.
That's where the heart of the industry is, I think, in the U.S. at least, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, LA definitely has its opportunities. It just depends.
It's different though. This is where the film industry is.
Exactly. Celebrity styling mostly happens here. So, if you're wanting to do that, LA is definitely your market. But New York is. I have a soft spot for New York.
How long were you there?
About 8 years.
Oh, a long time.
Yeah, a good amount of time.
I mean, you said that you didn't have a kind of a typical trajectory with your career, but is there a typical for someone who wants to be a fashion stylist? Like now, and we're going to get into your new business. Now you work with women who aspire to become, to do the things that you've done in your career path. And, is there a typical or a cookie cutter kind of mold of what you do, the steps that you take to get into styling?
Right.
You fell into it.
Right. That's a valid point, because there isn't really a cookie cutter, like certain career paths, like if you wanted to do, more product development careers like merchandising or a designer. It's really specific. You have to, usually follow a specific path. But it's a lot of it's on the job, and it's really it's all about putting yourself out there. And the key thing to remember is doing and making connections with other people.
Okay.
And I always advise girls that are interested in styling to just start, with themselves. It depends as well as if there's so many different kinds of styling. There's personal styling, there's celebrity styling, there's online styling now, and I kind of recommend that also for people that are interested in, especially now, because the industry's changed and it's different.
Absolutely, especially with social media advances and new technologies that we have at our fingertips now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's actually kind of what prompted me to realize that styling has changed, and your online presence is almost more important than your offline presence. But so you really have to match your skill set online now, and that wasn't the case years ago. So the industry's changed, and
the way of doing business.
You have to brand yourself, and that's really the key now. But you have to get experience, and you have to start making connections and doing it online, like I said, because there's lots of companies now that are have online services, like Stitch Fix is an example. If you want to do personal styling, a company like that, like working as a remote stylist, is a great way to get experience.
Sure.
In store, retail, as well. I always say I put my time in at retail. Because you're working one-on-one with somebody, and you just can't beat that experience. And editorial.
It's a good foundation, I think. It can lead to a lot of different doors opening.
Yeah, totally.
And you mentioned editorial. You were going to say something.
Right. Well, editorial's a little different. It's a different world, and it's more creative in terms of you're not working with like you're working with a model. A person. She's a model. Sorry. It's years of working with models, but with models, and you're able to concept a story and create a fashion spread, basically, with a photographer, and build your portfolio by doing a test. That's what they're called, and really putting yourself, starting to build your work and demonstrate your styling skill set. So, and you once you start to do that, and you can get published in magazines, and you start to build an editorial portfolio. So it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different path, but it's a little bit more. I don't hate to say it, a little bit more creative, because you have to be creative with an individual.
Right.
I think personal styling is really challenging.
Maybe more freedom.
Right.
In that kind of space.
Exactly.
And thank you for enlightening me and the viewers. I didn't even realize there were so many different paths you could take within styling, because I think in LA, people think of celebrity styling, and that's kind of where our minds go. Next segment, we're going to talk about your business and specifically, but I want to kind of tease out a little bit more about portfolio building and what does that look like today for these different aspects of styling?
Right. Well, today it is a different ballgame. You not only with your social media presence, which is assume that you already have one.
Right. Instagram.
Yeah. Right. Your Instagram, especially, is probably the best platform for a stylist, and so that has to be on point. And then you also have to have your website demonstrating your work, your portfolio. Right. So it's an online portfolio. And the crazy thing is, usually a client or someone interested in your work will go to your social media or your website before they even contact you. So
absolutely, it's that virtual handshake.
Yeah. And nowadays it's so much easier to do it yourself, right, online. But the challenge is branding, and that's really the key in making in standing out. Because the market is so saturated now.
Absolutely. Yeah, you really have to have some kind of unique strategy, right? And some unique identifier. That's a great place to wrap up, because we're going to next segment talk about branding and how you've gone from, retail and personal styling to now helping brand stylists and helping them launch careers. So we'll be back in a few minutes with Arlene Guerra.